All sounds of the motors have ceased. Street Outlaws JJ Deboss, real name Jonathan Day, the asphalt monarch has hit rock bottom. However, this isn't an unfamiliar obstacle. A terrifying relic from his history resurfaces. For a long time, a sinister secret has tracked his ascent to stardom. An unsolved mystery that can lead him back into despair. This is the frightening reality. Serving a lengthy prison term was JJ Deboss's first, forever, experience. Not to mention the ongoing legal disputes that cast a long shadow over what lies ahead for him. Sentenced to 8 years and 1 month in federal prison for JJ Deboss. That was Jonathan Day's world. A federal jail had him locked up on narcotics accusations. An incredibly weighty statement that seemed to go on forever. The end of an era of actual independence for him. We did not make a hasty retreat. Getting through a system that eliminates any familiarity was a long and arduous process. Although few people know the specifics of his drug charges, they do know that he spent more than 8 years behind bars at the federal facility. Informs us that this was no laughing affair. Despite the hardships he endured, JJ says that this time taught him to value and cherish life and all its inhabitants. The thrill of the open road gave way to the icy bars of steel, and the roar of the audience gave way to the utter quiet of a prison cell. As he grappled with the aftereffects of his previous decisions, each day was a struggle, not with the street but with himself. This lengthy jail term occurred before he became famous as a TV personality. Actually, he began assembling his now famous Memphis Street Outlaws, MSO, squad less than a year after his release, and he quickly became a household name. First ever television broadcast. How did he achieve such a rapid return to stardom after a long absence? Was his history known to those who placed him on television? I would say yes. The showrunners responsible for Jonathan Day's incarceration was well known to the Street Outlaws. They were aware of his lengthy prison history, which may have indicated a potential propensity for violent behavior. They did not stumble upon this secret. They decided to emphasize that particular aspect of his experience. Street Outlaws Memphis chose to have JJ Deboss as its lead actor due to his widespread fame and his no-nonsense, rough demeanor. This move raises the possibility that the show was intentionally meant to challenge viewers, causing them to face real-life issues and giving his tough image a more authentic feel. Even if many spectators didn't see it, the guy they watched run was never truly free from the shadow of those prison walls. Where a myth begins. How did this man, who had to confront his shadowy background and had seen the interior of a federal jail, become a popular TV personality and a street king? We need to go on a journey to fully comprehend JJ Deboss. Returning to the beginning of his story, before the cameras started rolling and his name became famous throughout the globe. On August 10, 1973, Jonathan Day came into this world in Memphis, Tennessee. However, he spent his formative years in the little Arkansas town of Joyner, which is located on the Mississippi River west of Memphis. Though it was often difficult, life there was simple. That's when his love for racing began. As a young man, Jonathan considered racing more than a pastime. He inherited it from his family. A passion for speed and competition was instilled in him at an early age by his street racing uncles and grandfathers. Even as a young child, he was a regular spectator at street races, riding shotgun on his mother's hip while he watched his uncle and dad race. Fancy racetracks or professional circuits were not the focus here. Where talent and guts were paramount, it was all about unfiltered street racing. The regulations were dated. Without sophisticated cameras to catch even the smallest of errors, races started with the simple wave of an arm. This time-honored racing style, which had its origins in his family's past, came to define him. A substantial The pursuit of financial gain motivated street racing. According to JJ, his family did not have a lot of money. The high-tech cars, costly equipment, and entry fees required to race on professional tracks were out of their price range. On this street, anybody with a speedy vehicle and those with the guts to do so could compete without financial or time constraints. On the other hand, the unregulated street racing scene was fraught with peril. Life and death are on the line in a dispute or a gamble gone wrong. These serious dangers led JJ to conclude that dignity and the most crucial regulations on the street were those imposed by powerful leaders. Even before it was a TV title, his boss character was born out of his need for control and structure in the face of anarchy. Because he had to learn to dominate people and set boundaries quickly, his on-screen character's sincerity while elucidating the crew's devotion. Even as a young boy, he picked up the skills of hustle and gambling. At the tender age of 10, he was already racing and driving on dirt and gravel roads in an effort to make a few bucks. The excitement of the race and the hardships of childhood. The man who would eventually overcome the obstacles of jail life and go on to establish an empire was shaped by the reality of survival. The path to stardom. Years of navigating back roads, fending off danger, and suffering the awful silence of incarceration later, the question emerged. How did JJ and the Memphis Rhythm Kings become household names? Famous people on a national level, entertaining millions with their own style of racing? The process started when Discovery Channel made contact. Despite his interest in documenting the gritty reality of street racing in Memphis, JJ was apprehensive about incorporating his family's storied history and his own troubled background into the project. The intense radiation from the light source. After seeing the system, he had had enough. Were additional eyes on him truly what he desired? He consented even though he was unsure. His classic 1949 Chevy pickup vehicle, Old Heavy, became known to the globe in no time. The car in question was more than simply a racing vehicle. A cherished heirloom that had been passed down through the years, it became famous all on its own. Street Outlaws Memphis showed the world the thrill and danger of street racing as it really is. In JJ's opinion, it allowed outsiders to see the gravity of the situation and appreciate their culture without passing judgment. A reputation for unwavering devotion and unmatched success spread rapidly throughout the Memphis Street Outlaws under JJ's leadership. Whether it was Fastest in America or Street Outlaws Memphis, they were unstoppable on the streets and never lost a match. When it came to JJ, it was never all about the cash. Above everything, family and honor were his top priorities. He adhered to this discipline in his life off the track as well. Viewers connected with his strong sense of family and honor, elevating him beyond the role of a mere racer. A leader and a patriarch, he always had his family's back. Zip tie, Hummingbird, the Malibu, and here, a 1966 Chevy 2 that JJ purchased in his early 20s and subsequently repurchased, were among the renowned race vehicles that JJ possessed. He went so far as to put his cousin Precious and wife Trisha Day, whose real name is __, in cars, so that they might race, amassing substantial wealth through wagers on the streets' female runners' superiority. He imparted his winning strategies and techniques to them. Having raced on every street in Memphis, and even developed his own street racing scene, JJ is renowned as one of the quickest men on the streets and one of the largest gamblers. Known as Spin City back in the day, this widespread exposure was both a blessing and a curse, as the show catapulted him to superstardom and exposed millions to his one-of-a-kind racing universe. The platform that brought him fame also brought greater attention to his deeds, which put him in a more vulnerable position. The world of high-stakes street racing, the onset brawl, and reality TV all conspire to deliver chaos to your doorstep. One event for JJ Deboss brought the law crashing down on him in a big way, reminding everyone that the specter of eternal goodbye still hung over them all and threatening to drag him back into he had previously faced in the shadows. In September 2017, JJ and his crew got into a violent altercation with another racing team, Chad Larkin and his wife Jenny, during a race that was meant to be filmed. The subsequent claims were deeply disturbing and painted a bleak image of the upheaval that occurred. The show's host, Jonathan Day, invited Missourian and veteran street racer Chad Larkin and his wife, Jenny, to compete. The creators of the show allegedly intended for the tension to build in order to increase the show's excitement and viewership, according to the lawsuit. Rumor has it that they incited rival teams to trash-talk JJ's squad. A racer associated with JJ allegedly began too early, leading to their disqualification, and tensions flared out as a result. This infuriated JJ. He then ordered his workers to utilize after he began cursing and screaming, their filthy little secret to use against their rival racers. Furthermore, he implied that they would intentionally postpone the race in order to cause the other cars to overheat by threatening to burn them down. Anything to get under their skin, even trash-talking, was what he wanted. According to the complaint, the show's producers instructed Chad Larkin to beginning to pick on JJ and his team. Bounty Hunter, another crew member, and JJ allegedly assaulted Chad Larkin in retaliation. As he lay on the ground, they repeatedly kicked him in the ribs and hit him in the face. According to Larkin, he was terrified for his life and thought they were trying to kill him. He had lived. A female teammate of JJ's allegedly snatched Jenny's head and dragged her to the floor by her hair as she attempted to assist him, inflicting both bodily and mental harm on Jenny. And the accusations leveled against the show's creators just add insult to injury. They allegedly did nothing to end the altercation, according to the lawsuit. On the contrary, they persuaded a cameraman to get in closer so they could capture a clearer view of Larkin's bloodied face, and they continued recording. Reportedly, the show even showed this clip. This provides more evidence that the producers may have orchestrated the on-screen drama, implying that they may have been personally responsible for the real-life harm and legal issues only for the purpose of achieving higher ratings. A torn knee, slipped disc in his back, a black eye, a cracked front tooth, and a broken lip were among Chad Larkin's major injuries. In addition to Jenny Larkin, both Jenny and her emotions were hurt. A massive sum of money is what the Lens are requesting. Monetary damages in their case. The Larkin's brothers, Chad and Jenny, are suing for damages, with Chad wanting $5 million and Jenny $500,000. Arrest and charges of aggravated assault were filed against Jonathan Day 1 month subsequent to the altercation. After posting a bond of $30,000, he was eventually released. Starting in September. As of 2018, the grand jury had not officially charged JJ with the offense since he had dodged indictments, and the criminal case against him remained continuing. One unexpected turn of events was the referral of Chad Larkin's lawsuit claims to arbitration, a confidential process for resolving legal disputes. This occurred as a result of a specific arbitration provision in the contract he had previously signed. Nevertheless, Jenny Larkin's lawsuit is continuing in a public court. This means that even while some aspects of the legal struggle are not accessible to the public, the lawsuit as a whole is very much alive and well, and JJ is constantly threatened by it. Banned at Darlington Dragway. At the very moment when it appears that the law. Just as things were beginning to settle down for JJ and Boss, a fresh scandal broke out, proving that their precarious existence is far from ended, and that there are several ways to face the possibility of saying goodbye for good. This time, it wasn't a brawl that got racing officials fired. It was a bold trick. Come November 2023, when Randy, a man, was seen on camera clinging to the rear of Old Heavy at Darlington Dragway while JJ's renowned truck raced down the track. For a lot of people, it was a terrifying and unexpected moment. Wild, unbridled speed on display. Randy, with his hands clenched around the. Despite allegedly signing a waiver, he was found unrestrained on the truck's bed cover. But there were serious repercussions to this stunt. It was a sobering reminder that things were getting different. As a leading organization, the World Drag Racing Association manages motorsports, declared that they will not be sanctioning any more races held at Darlington Dragway. The occurrence with JJ Deboss was deemed a major violation of safety and insurance policies, which is the reason stated. Darlington Dragway wasted no time in responding with its own statement, sending a strong message to the racing community. They ensured that the well-being of all participants and onlookers was their utmost concern. They decided on a course of action after the occurrence. Future events at the Dragway cannot be hosted by JJ Deboss. Because of this outright prohibition, a major opportunity for street racing was cut off. King. An official farewell from a prominent location. Will JJ's racing career come to an end yet again due to this ban? No, not totally. Even though Darlington issued a clear and public prohibition, JJ Deboss is compete in the racing world despite road closures. His career is thriving despite the fact that some doors are closing in his racing career. This is a reflection of his resilience and determination. The real question is, how much longer can he avoid the professional and legal repercussions before he has to say goodbye for good? The man who created the legend. Who is the real JJ Deboss, behind all the lawsuits, bans, and rumbling engines? Family and loyalty are the bedrock principles around which Jonathan Day's life and racing team are built. Not only is his wife Trisha Day, who goes by the nickname __, his life partner, but she is also his teammate on the track, competing side by side with him. The Memphis Street Outlaws core group consists of JJ's many children and extended family. He is the father of 11 children, 7 from his first marriage and 4 from his second marriage to Trisha. Everyone in his large family is heavily involved in his racing career. From important team members also include his cousin Precious and son Doughboy. The Memphis group has a strong sense of camaraderie that is said to be organic, formed through shared experiences. Even more important to JJ than financial success is protecting his family and honor. Having said that, there are legitimate risks associated with living a fast-paced lifestyle. Consequences can be catastrophic, and physical dangers are constant. There was a terrible moment for his daughter, Wei Day, when she crashed at the Bonter drag strip while racing. Near the finish line, she lost control and crashed violently, shocking and horrifying the crowd, reverberating among the audience. Wei was transported to the hospital by helicopter. A sobering illustration of the dangers that afflict their activity. A fleeting moment that might have become an eternal farewell for his cherished daughter. The good news is that she has stabilized and is on the road to recovery. A minor triumph in a world where everything is on the line. Looking forward, it's hard to say. What does JJ Deboss, whose real name is Jonathan Day, have in store for the future? An iconic character, he has faced significant violent assault charges, a federal prison sentence for narcotics charges, and more. Indictment, a multi-million-dollar litigation, and exclusion from prominent racetracks. In spite of these enormous obstacles, he continues to thunder down the track. A man who will not be silenced, a monument to his unwavering spirit. A captivating tale unfolds in the life of JJ Deboss. His triumphant racing career and wildly popular TV show were a combination of his previous failures and his pursuit of redemption. Yet, he and his family are in a constant state of high risk during this trip due to things like ongoing lawsuits, professional prohibitions, and actual physical hazards. It has. What makes his stories so interesting is the continual conflict between his background and the persistent threat of fresh personal or legal problems, as it happens right now. All the while, JJ races, draws audiences, and leads his Memphis family, despite the obstacles he faces on a daily basis and the shadows cast by his history. His determination and the devotion of his followers have not wavered. Still, the inquiries reverberate like a faraway engine hum. Is he going to have to say goodbye to freedom once again when the legal battles finally catch up with him? On the other hand, will he be able to hang up his keys for good if the risks of the street eventually get to him? The path that lies ahead for JJ Deboss is just as exciting and full of surprises as a street race. Every step is a precarious waltz with destiny.